Hi, Chrisco. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being back. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming back. It's really good to see you. And forgive me for our smiles. We were talking a little bit behind the scenes first, so we were just joking with each other. But I'm so glad to have Chrisco here. He's one of my favorite people. And I had a chance to go through his channel recently, and he's quickly becoming one of my favorite channels as well. So this is the Steadfast Podcast producer here, Chrisco. Chrisco, can you kind of tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your channel?
Yeah. I'm an Australian-born Greek Cypriot who is obviously Orthodox Christian as well. I'm a married man. I have two beautiful kids, part-time YouTuber, soccer coach, and a pro wrestler. I'm from Sydney, Australia, mate. Put another shrimp on the barbie, as you can tell by my accent. By the way, I wanted to say, the whole thing about the Americans saying about, put another shrimp on the barbie, taking the sort of Mickey out of the Aussies. Australians do not say shrimp.
Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
Oh.
So we call shrimp prawns. So just wanted to...
Thank you for clearing that up. We've gotten that very wrong.
Yes, very wrong, very wrong. So put another prawn on the barbie. But anyway,
do you guys say that? Do you say put another prawn on the bob?
No. We just, but we do have our slang, so it's pretty similar the way we speak. But yeah, that's about me. My channel, it's predominantly an Orthodox channel. I put little clips and videos, things that I enjoy, things that I find edifying. It might edify others as well. Interviews that I do even with yourself and other, whether it's priests or philosophers or anyone that's interesting, want to hear their story. And that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So I have a few questions here I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
Tell us, I know you've had a pretty interesting ride when it comes to Orthodoxy. Can you tell us about your history and your spiritual journey and where you find yourself now? How did you get into it all?
Yeah, well, like I said, I am cradle Orthodox. So obviously born Greek, you're sort of forced to go to church and things like that. Look, I remember being young and my mum was taking me to church. I used to take the Eucharist, and I remember being so bored in church, and I was like, man, I tell you, when I'm 18 years old, I'm never coming here again. When I'm old enough to make a decision, I don't think I'm coming here again. Obviously, we're doing the Easters and Christmases and stuff like that at church. I suppose I'm not going to say I didn't believe in God. I suppose I always did believe in God, or there was a God, but obviously didn't really practice it, and really more cultural sort of thing, when I was in my teens, I suppose I was saying that, do we really need to pray or pray to the saints, or do you really need to go to church and all that sort of stuff, when I was 18 years old, I was going to sort of, nightclubs and stuff. I used to DJ a little bit as well. And I would drink a lot. I would do other things that I probably can't say on your channel. Things that I probably, well, not probably, but I do regret doing, falling into the wrong crowd and stuff like that. Things when you're young, you think it's okay, it's pretty cool, but it's really not when you as you get older, I suppose. But look, fast forward to like 2020, when I was wrestling, I actually copped a bit of a knock to my head, and it was weird. I started getting anxiety, and I started like crying, and mentally I wasn't really feeling well. So, for a long time there, I just didn't know really where to turn. And I remember just going, you know what? I had a Bible that was my wife, one of her bosses gave it to her, and it was just a New King James Bible, and it was a brand new one. And I remember just every now and then I would sort of open it up and read a couple of words, and then I'd just close it. And I'm like, nah, it's not for me. And then I'm like, you know what? After a while, I thought I'll open it up and start reading, the New Testament, and obviously, I when you've never read the Bible before, you don't really know what you're reading, but yeah, I started reading it, and then I was like, I started getting, find out who Christ really was, and it started to move me, and then I started praying, and I was like, Lord, if you can sort of save me and heal me from this anxiety, please, Lord, I will never disown you. I'll follow you always, and I'll be the best sort of Christian I can be. And by the grace of God, my anxiety pretty much left. I still, get it every now and then, but nowhere near to the extreme that I had it before. And I am blessed that I have my wife and my family that's supported me through that. And it was a real tough period of my life going through that. But, looking back at it, I'm actually grateful that, the Lord allowed that anxiety in my life, because it obviously drew me closer, to God. So, which is fantastic thing. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're mentioning that, because I feel like so many people find God or really start their journey after their life is just shattered in some horrible way. It turns out to be the biggest blessing. It sounds like that's sort of what happened with you as well.
Yeah. It was a sort of bittersweet, but obviously more sweet because of the outcome of it, of course. But yeah, and that really opened up as well. Like, okay, cool, finding Christ again, which is good. But then what? So, that's the thing. It's always good to find Christ, and you're reading the Bible and it's all good. So then I started thinking to myself, okay, well, just read the Bible. That's it. That'll be good. As the Protestants say, sola scriptura, scripture alone. That's it. That's all we need. Just have a relationship with Christ. Me, the Bible, a cup of coffee, and I'm all good. So for a long time, I thought that. I remember, actually, it was quite funny. I remember my mum, and also my sister as well. I used to tell them before I came back to sort of Orthodoxy, I was like, "Why do you pray to saints? Like, why? Why do you pray? You don't need to. Just you got these icons hanging. What? Like, you don't need it. Just have faith in Christ. Read the Bible. Be the best person you can. Be done with it. And my mum, being an old sort of Greek lady, she's saying, no, we love the Bible, but we also ask the saints to pray for us, and and all these sort of things. And I was like, nah, you don't know nothing. Me, that was me like 6 months into like being a staunch sort of
Wow.
like I know better. Yeah, like I know everything. I know better. Like, how dare you take, like you're not doing things right, like I know everything. I've read, half of Matthew, and I think all that sort of stuff. But
I've read half of Matthew.
you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
it's ridiculous. But yeah, look, I suppose a big thing as well, what sort of made me change my mind about that was like, I was going to like, was it one? It was two different Protestant churches. And I noticed that the pastors, well, obviously the pastors from the two different churches were saying different things. One church was doing infant baptism, and then halfway through, like a few months after, they said they're not doing it anymore. And then the others said, no, we don't do that. They have to be adults, believers baptism and all these sort of things. And that was one thing. And then different passages they were reading, others would dissect it differently. And then I come to the realization that, wow, like this whole thing is like based on whatever the pastor says. Like, that's where my belief is going to come from. So it's like, if I go to another 3 different churches, I'll have like, 5 different beliefs on certain things. And maybe some are very similar, but that's why you're getting this diversion in all these different denominations, because it's like, oh, well, I really like that church I went to, But then I'll start my own, and I'll take a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this, and then I start my own. And that's a dangerous thing. That's a dangerous thing. So these were red flags for me. And then so again, the question was asked, okay, so what did the early church believe? I wanted to find out what, the earliest Christians believed. So I did a little bit of research, and I come to see that the Orthodox Church, was established by Christ, and the apostles continued that, and along with the church fathers. And I came back to the church and started to understand what, the icons meant, intercessions of the saints, these things that sort of troubled me, and obviously troubles still a lot of people in a sense when you don't understand. And I came back to Orthodox Church, and glory to God, here I am.
Wow. That's a journey. I love that though. I love that you were thinking the whole time. I love that you went to those multiple churches and got the idea, like, I'm going to have all these different viewpoints if I keep going to these different. And I wonder how much of that was just your basis of having some Orthodox beginnings, of having this firm faith to start with. You were already thinking like, wait, you think this, you think that, coming from a background in dogma. Do you think that played a role, that you kind of had that experience?
Yeah, probably a little bit. But at the end of the day, for me, whether my parents were Orthodox or not, like, I could easily change and become a Muslim if I knew that Islam was the truth. You get what I'm saying? Like, these sort of things for me, like, yes, I suppose maybe in the back of my mind, it was like, oh, I was right the whole time, all along. Sorry, like, how good's this? But no, like, at the end of the day, like, I search for truth, and even still I search for truth, which I believe I have found in the Orthodox Church. But we're still learning. I don't know everything, so we're still constantly learning, and it's been an unbelievable experience finding out a lot of things about our faith. Yeah, no, it's been really good.
I don't know how much you mentioned this, but you are a big wrestler, and you have had quite a career. So tell me about how you got the name Hellenic Dream.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a big wrestler.
Belt in the background. Is that what I'm seeing? Is
that is the cruiserweight? Yeah, the cruiserweight belt. So unfortunately, it's been about 11 months now, and I snapped the wrist. So I haven't wrestled since then. So unfortunately, I had to relinquish my title. And by the way,
only because of technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, because obviously I couldn't defend the title, and then I had to sort of give it up. But I had that one made, so that belt's staying with me forever. So that's.
I like that. I was noticing that in your videos. I think that's a nice touch to your background.
That's it. Yeah, that's right. But yeah. So I've been wrestling for around about five years. So it's been really good. Now my name is the Hellenic Dream and Xander Rose. So Hellenic Dream, obviously Hellenic, I am Greek, so I got the Hellenic from that. There was an old wrestler called the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. I don't know if you remember him. He was quite a large fella, and I love that name, the American Dream. And I just thought, you know what? I just sort of changed it up a bit, and I thought I'll put my own spin to it. Hellenic Dream, it sounds pretty cool. And Xander Rose, my son's name is Xander, and my daughter's name is Isla Rose. So I just thought I sort of amalgamated them two, and then with a little nickname with Hellenic Dream, and there you go, the Hellenic Dream, Xander Rose.
That is cool. That is cool. I watched a couple of your wrestling videos. You were on it. You were on it. That. I don't know if you have the same experience as me, but having that background in athletics and being competitive has helped me in Orthodoxy.
Yeah.
Because you're used to falling down and getting beat. And so I find that has been such a blessing of, like, whenever I have a sin party, if you will, like, rather than wallowing, I'm so used to failing when it comes to the gym that I can get back up easier than I anticipated because I use those same things. Do you a lot of the times go back to your wrestling and think, oh, thank God, I know how to do this physically. It'll help me spiritually.
That's perfect, because you talk about getting knocked down and coming back up, like, with everything, whether it's injuries, whether it's eating a bad diet and you're thinking you're doing well, and then you get off the horse and you're eating all this Nutella and chocolate and all this sort of stuff. Right now, I have to admit, I'm so disciplined when it comes to what goes in my body. Discipline, I always tell my kids, if there's one thing that I need to instill in them, it's discipline. It's something that if you do not have, we are done. We are done. Because it's not just what we put in our mouth, it's day to day what we do and how we treat people. And even though we fail, even though we will muck up, we know where we need to go. We have that baseline where we need to go back to, and we start again. So definitely very important. And I see, of course, with you, you do, you're a trainer and you watch what you eat and stuff like that. And also we both have ADHD. So, what we put in our mouth, what we put in our mouth is very important. And what we say as well is very important. So,
yeah, I think we definitely have that in common. And you're right. The discipline, I think working out, people, ask, well, why do you work out? Do you want to be strong? Do you want to be healthy? Yeah, it is the discipline. That's the most important thing. Do you want to make the commitment to go to the gym every day? It's like, well, over the years, you start to see how crappy you are. Like there's weeks that I just don't go. I don't want to go. And like you said, with the Nutella, there's weeks where you just bomb your diet and you get kind of used to your own self, like how flawed you are, and you get better. But then it takes years of like continuing to show up and then failing and then showing up and failing. It's way more important than just your health. I think that's kind of when people say that, they don't realize how deep it is. It's your health, really, it is obedience to your plan of being healthy, commitment to the obedience of like, I'm going to try today. Right.
No, definitely. And you know what the best thing is, I find as well, is don't jump into something too quick. Because and that's even with Orthodoxy too, a lot of people jump in there and they're so zealous and then they sort of frizzle out, after a few months. I think when you talk about food, diet, or, those sort of things, exercising, it's like, you know what, just start with a walk every day. Something so simple as just, don't have to go to the gym just to start off with. If your life's too hectic, things are too crazy, just go for a walk. Just promise yourself that doesn't matter how hard it is with kids or with anything, that after you finish dinner, you clean up, everything's all done, you're going to go for a, half an hour walk. Okay, that's cool. That's a tick. Then after, you know what? I'm not going to have any more soft drink. That's it. I'm going to cut soft drink. If you've got issues with sugar and stuff like that, and it's very difficult for you, just stop. I'm not going to have any soft drink anymore. I'm done. Okay. After 3 months, 6 months, all right, cool. Chocolate and sweets are done. I'm not going to have any more. So that's the sort of thing you do. You slowly sort of cut things. Where I've gone to the other side now. I've gone that crazy with it now. I'm not having any seed oils and stuff like that. I'm not having any, sugars, refined food. The only sugars that I do have now is through my fruit. So pretty much, I'm pretty much like a carnivore / keto / I have veggies, fruit, meat, and the drinks that I drink would be just normal water and sparkling water, stuff like that. I go to the gym, say 4 times a week. I keep it very simple. I do like a 15-minute cardio on the treadmill and then followed by 45 minutes of weights. Very simple stuff. I don't overcomplicate it, and that's it. So it's about simplifying it. Don't overcomplicate it. And you don't need to be at the gym for hours and hours. It's all about consistency. And that consistency is key.
Right. I love that. And it's a lifelong process. You're never going to be good enough. I learned that. Like you'll never be always on it 100% of the time. But like you said, I think you're most successful if you start building those habits like this. I'm just going to cut out soft drinks for the next 3 months. I'm not having soft drinks. And you kind of give yourself, for me, I like having a cutoff date. For 3 months, I'm not having any soft drinks. I'm going to go to the gym. And like you, I keep it very simple. I don't have high, what is the word I'm looking for? Not expectations, but a high view of myself at the gym. Like if I can get my workout pants on, there's like a gold medal. And then B is getting in the car and getting to the gym. And then I'm like, I made it. Whatever happens in here, like I've already done it. And then I kind of like, I'll get on the treadmill like you do. And I'm like, I'll do 20 minutes, whatever that looks like. Sometimes I'm running, sometimes I'm walking, and people are like, yo, how much do you do it? How many miles do you go? I'm like, I don't ever look. I don't care. I do my 20 minutes, and however that looks, some days is on fire. Some days are, I don't care. I've already, just the fact that I've gotten there, that's the biggest thing, is just going. And then I'm happy. And I think to apply that to Orthodoxy, like if I didn't have my fitness experience, I think Orthodoxy would be a lot more challenging. That can be applied for me in church. It's very difficult for me to go. I know a lot of people say like they love it, and it's not to say I don't love it. I do love it, but there's just this, it's the discipline. It doesn't matter how I feel. My spiritual life, I mean, I will die if I do not go to church. I know
Yeah.
myself. I'm wild. Okay. So I belong in church with my spiritual father watching me and seeing me. I have to make eye contact and make sure he knows that I'm there, like the basic things just to make sure that I don't die. Same thing at the gym. Like if you stop going to the gym, you start eating a bunch of Pringles, you're eventually going to, get a bunch of diseases and not be healthy. It's that important too. So it's like starting over. Like I feel like I can be like an obese person going to the gym. Like that's how it feels with me in Orthodoxy. Luckily I have 4 years under my belt now, but it's a challenge. It's still always like, get up. It's time to go to church. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
how you feel. Oh, you can't find the right headscarf. Doesn't matter. Put one on. Let's go. So, anyway.
Your church is Saint Nicholas. Is it Father Seraphim, your parish priest? Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Oh, how blessed. I've got him on YouTube. He's fantastic. Mate, having the sermon in the service done by him would be what a blessing. Unreal.
Yeah, it's
Unreal.
pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm in a good spot. I'm in a real good spot. I was going to ask you next, have you read any books that have really affected you and your journey?
Books, yeah. Lately, I haven't. I've only read a little bit of it, but lately I've just purchased The Incarnate Christ and His Critics by Rob Bowman Jr. Really good book, but I haven't read all of it yet. But that's fantastic. A classic for me is Rock and Sand by Father Josiah Trenham. Another one
I've
of my
heard of that
favorites.
so many times. Is it good?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's
one
good.
about Protestantism, correct?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so good. It's back there, but I won't
Okay.
get it. But yeah, it's fantastic. Oh man, it's about Protestantism, but also as well a little bit of Catholicism in there too. So
Okay.
he just lays it out. Fantastic. The Religion of the Apostles by Father Stephen DeYoung, fantastic as well.
Okay.
That's pretty much explaining to you, the start of Christendom there, which is good. What else is
So
there?
it's like, is that the history of the church a little bit?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's
And he
good
really
information.
he really talks about as well, like the start of Christianity. Everyone just thinks it was sort of like a new religion, but it was like a continuation of Judaism.
Mm.
And he just sort of correlates the two sort of
Wow.
together. It's like in really easy terms too. So it helps for me, like dummies like myself. So it's quite good. Another book to get. I've got one that's sort of like it's called the Didache, the Teaching of the 12, and that's like a first century document of how Christians lived, how their Christian life was, and things like that. So in that document there, you find about the fasting, Wednesdays and Fridays, baptism by water immersion, things like that. A lot of things anyway from early Christianity. So it's quite good. Of course, the Orthodox Study Bible. That's something that every Orthodox Christian should have. Very good, because when you're reading the Bible, you've got the notes down the bottom. So more than likely it would be from a church father. Sometimes it's not a church father. Sometimes I believe it's the council or whoever it is who put that together. They put their little footnotes, and in that council, I think they're either priests or scholars or things like that. So very informative footnotes and things like that, which helps you understand the Bible a lot better. But those sort of books were fantastic.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing those. I feel like definitely the Orthodox Study Bible is a game changer. I never had a Bible until I got that one. And I just love that there's explanations. There's, exegesis at the bottom that'll help you understand it. You don't have to think so much. It's kind of relaxing not relaxing being Orthodox, but you know what I mean? Like you don't have to figure everything out. You can look more deeply into it and know that your faith will grow over time. It's relaxing in that aspect of like you found the true faith and other people will help you understand it as you grow, including in the Bible, the Orthodox Study Bible. And what about online Orthodox content? What are your favorite channels?
Oh, online. I do love your channel, that's for sure.
Yay.
I love it. I do. And I'm not just saying it. I do love your channel. We was talking about that before, before we went on air. I love what you're doing. Even now you're interviewing a lot of people, which is good. And your little ideas that you have in your head, you're having it out there. And if you could help a few people that might have the same issues or dramas that you've gone through, and you could help them in any way, then if it's only one person, you've done your job. We're not doing this for money. That's what people don't understand. Everyone thinks, they're making money here and there. For me, all the money that I do make from the channel, it all goes to charity at Fiji for St. Tabitha's Church. I don't care about the money. I do it because to bring them to Orthodoxy or understand any sort of thing to help them in life, our job's done. And I believe that's what you're doing as well. So it's fantastic. But in regards to other people, other YouTubers, Jay Dyer, of course, the king, Jay. I shouldn't call him king. He's fantastic. But I do like Jay. I know he cops a lot of stick from certain people, but I love how he's straight out. He says it how it is, and he doesn't care what people think. What else we have? We've got Kyle as well, Orthodox Kyle. You've seen some of his stuff?
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
He's very genuine. He's I like him a lot.
I like him. He's got a good little beard now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I believe he's married too.
Is he?
I believe he got married. Yeah. So I think he's slowing down a little bit with the YouTube, but he's still posting a lot of stuff because he's got other content. But his channel's good. Perry Robinson. Don't know if you know Perry Robinson. Fantastic, but goes very deep. So he's got a lot of different content and goes really good with theology and stuff like that. But usually his streams go very long. So if you don't have the patience, if you're used to TikTok little videos, I don't think he'll be for you.
Right.
Jonathan Pajau, another one that's fantastic. Father Josiah Trenham, Patristic Nectar. Orthodox Shahada. I don't know if you've heard of.
Oh, yeah. I like that channel.
Yeah, very
they
good.
have a lot of really good information on Islam and kind of
Yeah.
refuting that, which I was going to tell you. I saw on your channel, you have a really good intro to Islam with Sam Shamoon. So
Sam Shamoon.
Yeah, that was my first intro to him, and I thought that it was really good. He kind of broke it down, and I liked that interview a lot.
Have you seen any of Sam Shamoon's stuff?
Just through yours. I've heard his name.
Yeah.
Thrown around. I know he's a big name in the community, but I don't know much about him. But I liked your interview with him on Islam. Did he used to be a Muslim? Is that what's the story?
I think that he was dabbling more into the Nation of Islam, which is sort of like a heretical sect of Islam. So that was more of the Black Islamic sort of movement, the Nation of Islam. With
are those the guys on the side of the street that?
Yeah. Oh no. They're the Hebrew, Black Hebrew Israelites.
Oh, okay.
They're different, but he dabbled a little bit with that with Nation of Islam, which then sort of made him sort of read the Bible again, and he started to fall in love with Christ and the New Testament, and then the rest is history. But I don't know if you've seen like his recall of scripture, of anything actually, is second to none. It's unbelievable. You got to watch. It just happened recently as well. Jay Dyer and Sam Shamoon debated two Muslims. Did you see that debate? It was on that Fresh and Fit channel.
I saw a little. Yes. Oh, yeah. That one has millions of views.
Yeah.
I thought they're doing good work. That's hitting a lot of people. I love that happened because you have all these manosphere guys who are starving for something. They want to be men and they don't have religion. So now it's like, well, are you going to go to Islam or are you going to go to Orthodoxy? Because here we have masculinity. Which one are you going to, I hope it, who knows what's going on the internet and who it reaches. But yes, I did see that. I'm so glad that they're doing that work.
No, I definitely think it's so important. A lot of people profess to be Christian, but when it comes time to sort of give a defense to the faith or to your faith, you don't know how to explain certain things. So when you have conversations with people, it sounds like you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a dangerous thing when you're trying to preach Christ. Now, I'm not saying that you must be a philosopher to be able to preach Christ. I'm not saying that at all. But you need to understand what you believe and not just say, oh yeah, Jesus Christ is Lord, and that's it. Just
Right.
understand. So when you have a conversation with someone, if it's a Muslim, because I do have a lot of conversations with Muslims, whether it's work or, out and about, to understand what you believe, understand what they believe as well. Don't straw man their arguments. You know what I mean? Don't act like you're refuting them, but you're not really in the ballpark. You need to understand what they believe and what you believe, and you can have fruitful conversations that way. So I think Sam's helped me in that sense as well. And also Sam was a big help as well, me coming back to Orthodoxy. Who else for channels? Have you heard of Patristics, the two Aussie brothers that
No.
make those? Yeah, they're fantastic. Fantastic. Really good. Called Patristics. And he talks about certain little topics and to the point, really good background, really good editing, like just fantastic. And he's got a good little Aussie accent going and fantastic. I love it. I love them. So little brothers there, big shout out to the Patristic boys there. Love them. There is so many other channels out there. Also be careful what you watch too, because you don't want to have, misinformation. So discernment's a very big thing. Don't just believe everything you hear. Always go back to your spiritual father and make sure that what you're watching, what you're saying is on point. And yeah, that's about it for YouTube.
I like that. I'm a fan of online Orthodoxy because that's how I found it too. And I love Jay's channel. I mean, the funny thing is you were saying like if you don't have the capacity to watch long videos, Jay's videos are like 5 hours. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. I haven't figured it out, Chrisco. I can like just sit there and listen to them. I don't understand all the different theological and dogmatic nuances, when he's discussing it with Catholics that really get into it. But for some reason, I'm obsessed with listening to it. I really want to, like you said, I think it's important to know the faith, and I want to know my faith, and people will challenge the true faith. And I want to be someone who can represent it. And at the moment, I'm not. I have little bits and pieces here and there, but I can't challenge people that way. And I think it's very impressive. And I think that's really good work. So I like that. And your channel is really good too. So I watched that one video you have with Nick Norelli. I liked him a lot. And I didn't realize he does pizza too. So that was kind of cool to watch all of his pizza stuff. And then you had another really good one with David Llewellyn. Yeah. Right. And he was talking about, he was a Pentecostal, right? And he was talking about like his history with heavy metal music, kind of being a little bit dabbling into Satanism, right? Was it through the heavy metal music?
Yeah.
And then a lot about speaking in tongues and the prosperity gospel. And I think that's really, you're such a good interviewer, and somehow you just really draw out the best in people and get them to talk about their experience. And I think those kind of interviews are so important because people really are in those worlds where they're speaking in tongues and thinking the prosperity gospel is real, and people are into heavy metal music and don't realize it. So it was nice to kind of hear from a very sober Orthodox point of view the damage that can do and how it leads to Orthodoxy ultimately. So I enjoy your channel, and you have other little things that you like. There's something called the Ancient Church documentary that you posted like 5 months ago. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Our church history is one of the best selling points of being Orthodoxy, if you can say selling points, but we have, the legitimate history is going on with us. So I like that documentary. It was beautiful. And I don't know, other stuff than that. There's little channels popping up all over the place, but I would say I'm partial to, my people's podcast. I really like Jamie Hanshaw's podcast. Have you seen hers? This is Jay's wife.
Yeah, bits and pieces. Yeah.
She's a friend of mine, and I think she's the smartest woman I know. And just the way her brain works, because she's been in the conspiracy world, she's like a conspiracy queen. So I just really like the way her brain works. And as a woman too, I like having someone who's on the path just a year or two ahead of me that I can kind of follow in her footsteps. And she takes all the hard stuff, and then I kind of get to follow. So I really like her channel. She has some good guests and some good conversations. And
No, it's fantastic. Really good stuff.
Okay. So you were talking about you have been married for, is it 16 years? Something like that? A long time.
Oh, yeah, it is 16 years. Yeah, 17 this year. Yep.
Wow. How do you, so that's a long time. Congratulations. Most people can't make it 16 minutes.
Let me tell you, let's just hold it there, because it ain't a cakewalk. Let me tell you, it ain't a cakewalk. And that's the thing, social media does social social media does a great job of making it out like everyone's, living a ridiculous life and everything's perfect and the kids are doing their soccers and you've got this and you've got that and everything's all rosy. But the reality of it is it's difficult and life is difficult. And that's just how it is. It's just how it is. I can't explain it. It's full on, and in that moment too, you're dealing with your kids. Sometimes they're not cooperating. You lose it. You say things you shouldn't be saying. It's just, that's the thing. People will see me and go, oh, he seems pretty cool, like all this sort of stuff. You don't know me, what I did, half an hour ago when I was telling my kid to stop doing whatever. Go upstairs, you're making it's one of those things where life as a father, as a husband, it's full on and it's just a difficult road, and we've got to just try our best to emulate Christ. That's it. That's all. And that's everything we do. That's what we've got to do. So even though we stuff up, we make mistakes, reset, go again. Like I said earlier, just reset, go again. We know the baseline. We know what we need to do. And I know I just went on a bit of a tangent there, but that's just the reality of it. It's not all roses. It's very hard. It's very hard.
Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of times we can look on social media. There's so much talk on, get married. It'll be fine. You guys are going to walk to salvation together. It's blah, 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 blah. And the reality is what you're saying. And I know this not from personal experience. I've never been married, but I train a lot of women who are in marriages, and good ones. But it's a struggle, just like anything else. It's not all roses, just like you said. So I really appreciate how candid you were or are about that, because it's really two people that are agreeing to work together, from my understanding, and it is work.
Can I just add something there as well?
Please.
Talking about following Christ and things like that, always going back to that. But I think very important is your partner, your husband or your wife, whatever, should be the same as you, same zealous for Christ together. Because if you don't, then you're on an uphill battle. Because I know when I first came back to Christ, my wife thought I was a loony bin, going too much with this whole Jesus thing. And you could see that, God was making, working through her slowly. And my wife's Italian, so she was Catholic. And I think it was about 2 years now, she became Orthodox. I never told her to. She was coming to church and whatever, but you have to do it together. That's the key point, is together. And then when you use it together, doing on your journey, then you bring up your kids and teaching them about Christ and take them to church, and also reading the Bible every day with your kids, even if it's for 10 minutes. Yeah. So getting them used to the stories of Christ, the New Testament, getting them to read, and you do it together as a family. And that's how you make it together, because that's the only way you'll make it together. Because I'm telling you now, otherwise, it's very difficult, because the stresses, whether it's financial, whether it's situational, it doesn't matter. Everyone's got dramas going on. And it doesn't matter how good your life looks on social media, whether it's your in-laws, whether it's your immediate family, your sisters, it doesn't matter. There's always dramas going on and relationship issues with different people. So again, grounded in Christ, go to church, take the Eucharist, read your Bible, give to whoever you can give. And we have to struggle every day, pick up our cross daily, follow him, pick up our cross daily, follow him, keep doing it till the day we die. And that's it.
That's solid. Thank you for that. That's really good advice. What do you see? I guess this isn't a general question, but what do you see for the future? What do you see for yourself in the future? What do you see for the church in the future? What do you see for our world in the future? Do you have any predictions of what's going on, where you're going to be in it? What do you think? What do you think's going on, Chrisco? Give me your best guess.
Well, in the future, the future. I'm now we're probably going to go a little bit off topic, which is okay, because it's probably time that we go a little bit off topic. But I don't trust the government anymore. And I'm sorry to put my little tinfoil hat on. Let's just put our tinfoil hats on for now.
Mine's
Who
on.
cares? Let's do
Mine's
it. I don't trust the government anymore, to be honest. And the reason for that is the whole COVID situation. Everyone knows about it. I'm not saying people didn't have dramas with COVID. I'm not saying COVID itself was fake. I just think that there's certain, we were certainly forced to take certain things. Okay. I believe that through that, I did lose about 20 to 30% of my smell and taste. It still hasn't come back. Okay. So there has been some issues there. I think there's going to be persecution of the church as well. Things coming up so people don't believe in Christ anymore, to make things that the stories of the Bible are going to be, they're all fables and it's not real. There's no real God. Can't you see what's happening with AI, all these things, and that sort of stuff, I believe, will definitely be in the future. That's what I think will happen. I don't know when exactly, but these sort of things will happen where they would dumb down sort of God and that sort of thing. I think it's grim. Yeah. And it sort of says that in the Bible too, though. It's nothing like, it's nothing new, that the real believers are going to, have persecution. They're going to be persecuted. So it's going to happen, whether in our lifetime or after. But the way things look like with AI, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And there's certain good things, good aspects of technology. Don't get me wrong, but there's some scary things out there. This whole thing with Trump, right? I don't know too much about American politics, so I'm not going to talk too much about American politics. But in Australia, a lot of the people were like, yeah, go Trump, go Trump. And I was like, okay, well, Trump for me was like the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah.
Because I looked at Trump and I was like, well, at least he's sort of like a godly guy, and at least he's not full woke. That other Kamala Harris, she was just like, my goodness, like just off the boil with a lot of things. So in that sense, you're sort of going to go with Trump. But, do we really know what's behind Trump's, motives of certain things? Probably not. Is it just a facade of just having, Kamala Harris and then Trump, and then it's like you're making it look like you're picking Trump because you got Trump, yeah, he's in. But really, it's the guy behind who's moving everybody,
right?
Who's making all the decisions,
right? Creating that false dialectic where we think we have power, but the reality is they're both puppets held by the same dude. Yeah,
perfect. And it's looked like I'm
on
Team Trump.
For you.
Yeah. So we follow not Trump, we follow Christ. So whatever Christ says. So I don't know. That's whichever way you cut it. The future doesn't look good. So yeah, it just doesn't look good. What do you think about it anyway? Because I know you're a bit of a tinfoil too. So what do you think about that situation?
I 100% agree with everything you said. You might as well. I mean, it's like we were reading from the same manual. Yeah, I see there's a very real potential for fake alien invasion at some point. And that I think that the possibility of my community around me losing their minds from another psyop, I got to see it during COVID where by the grace of God, I was already a conspiracy person, so I didn't fall for anything. And I saw everyone losing their minds, and it was the weirdest experience. And now that I've been firmly planted in conspiracy land and also in the Orthodox Church, if another psyop were to happen, like a fake, alien invasion or whoever knows what they have next, that I think that would be rough on me to deal with speaking with people in my community that have lost their minds, like on a mass scale, like COVID, except it could, who knows? So that's something I think about, is the next PSYOP and what that's going to do, how much more they're going to come. I mean, because they've already conditioned us to lock down. Definitely more in Australia than here. Luckily in Texas, it wasn't as we didn't get anything like you guys got. So, but we still got conditioning. I mean, still to this day, you'll have people that wear the masks still.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Yep.
Still, there is still conditioning going, oh, well, I have to isolate for X amount of days. I'm like, so who's telling you to isolate? That was how many? So anyway.
Yeah. No, totally understand. Totally agree.
It's very strange that they haven't woken up to this. And so I'll hear little reverbs like of COVID talk. So for the future, I would say that, AI, I think for the genders, we're in trouble. I think online there's some nefarious work behind the scenes to try to get the genders to hate each other, like gender wars, similar to race wars in the US. Like there's all this, like, let's have black people and white people hate each other, but they don't realize that that's rooted in like just, people trying to cause chaos from behind the scenes to wreck our community. People are buying it hook, line, and sinker, like this is an actual thing, like attacking their neighbors. I think same thing with gender wars, when people are going online and they're lost and they're angry, and then they catch on to this this dialogue going on. I think it can be really bad when it bleeds into the community. So I think gender wars could be an issue. AI, yeah. I don't know,
Dividing
Chris.
the people. That's a big
Dividing the
thing.
people. Yeah.
Divide and
It's
conquer. Yeah.
really not liking our neighbors. And isn't
Yeah.
that one of Christ's commandments, is love God and love your neighbor? And I think they're hitting both of those pretty hard. They'll take you away from God any way they can. And now they're not now, but this is nothing new, obviously. This has been going on, but taking you away from your neighbor, and like really will give you any excuse that they can for you to hate your neighbor. So in the US, like you were talking about Trump versus Kamala, people hate whoever voted for the other person. And then it's like their mind switches. So like I had to really use some discernment on talking before the election, just because, not because I was ashamed at all of my viewpoints, but because other people's mentalities were so fragile that, and I don't think it's their fault. It's the brainwashing. So brainwashing is kind of a scary thing going into the future as social media continues to grow, and TikTok. And I don't know about you, but I feel my brain deteriorating. I scroll Instagram reels like there is no tomorrow. I'm so, and then I'll wake up and think, I feel my brain is not working as well. And so I'm a little bit worried about that.
The over information of things. So like it's like, if you don't feel well, or, and things come up, it's like, oh, this causes this, that causes this. Don't, microwave your food because that now gives you brain cancer. Like, all these little things. So everything's linked to everything.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't drink out of plastic bottles, because now that's linked to cardiovascular disease. And it's like, there's so much information out there. It's no wonder people have issues with, anxieties and because that's all they're feeding off. They're just seeing these things online, and it's just like, and it just, that's all they're thinking about is, oh my God, oh yeah, my heart is actually pounding. I must be having a stroke, or it's just too much information out there. Where back in the day, there was no social media. There's nothing like that. They just lived their life. I think we've got to scale down. And I'm a victim to that too, because I tend to scroll, on Facebook as well, and stuff like that. So watch a couple of shorts, and it's like, you're an hour deep, and you're like, wow, how quick that hour go? I feel like it's 2 minutes ago, last video. And it's just, so I agree. I definitely agree. It's an issue.
Yeah, because I love that point. I didn't even think about that, like information overload. And some information's good. I got really into like therapy videos because of the ADHD stuff. Like I really wanted to fix my brain.
Yeah, I know.
I would just binge watch ADHD, like how to fix my brain, like what habits to put in. And I would just get so addicted to it. And then I think, it's too much. It's too much. And, we're all just doing the best we can. And in a perfect world, I think I need to take some time off. Now, am I going to do it? Probably not right now. I'll tell you when that happens. But I think over information. And sometimes like I will diagnose myself with stuff that I don't even have. I'm like, that's what's going wrong with me.
Welcome
like
to my world. Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. That's why. That's why we've got to give it a break, because like it's can't tell you the things that go through my brain. It's ridiculous, but crazy things. I think detoxing from social media is a thing that we should all do, and if not total detox, limit, where it's like an hour a day or something like that. Like really, and I really mean that. Like, and then like after 8 o'clock, what do they say? After 8 o'clock, you shouldn't be watching your screen, because then that circadian rhythm, whatever it is, and you struggle sleeping and I don't know, stuff like that. It's a nightmare. The whole thing is just, we're going to get back to simpler times,
I agree. I think that's about all I have for you. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we end? I think this was such a fruitful stream, and I'm so glad you came on. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you wanted to get to?
No, I think we covered a lot, actually. Me
Yeah.
rambling for a while.
No, it's
Almost
really
an hour.
helpful. It's really helpful. You have a unique experience. And I just love your channel, and I love that you are. I loved what you were saying about marriage, and it kind of reminded me like what we were saying about the gym and with the discipline and orthodoxy, and also with social media, how we could use discipline in all areas of our life and how important discipline is, especially as we're about to go into the fast. I've been whining about not wanting to do certain things for the fast, and it's not about the fast. It's about developing the obedience and the discipline. So you have inspired me, and I'm so glad you're here. Before you go, can you tell us where we can find you and what's coming up next for you?
Yeah, so pretty much YouTube channel Steadfast Godcast. So that's where you can find me on YouTube. That's it pretty much. I don't really have anything else. I did have like a TikTok sort of thing where I used to upload a few little things, but I don't really use that anymore because I've been really trying to be against TikTok. but yeah, that's it really. YouTube. That's it. Coming up, I think in a few months' time, I'm going to have Sam back on the channel, and there's a couple of other guests not 100% confirmed yet, but yeah. And of course, I'm going to get you back on. We'll do something live. We're talking about that before. Yeah,
yes.
we'll do something
Chrisco and
live.
I were talking about how we haven't done anything live, so that will be our next project together. We'll try to do our first live, or for me anyway. I'll do my first live.
It'll be a fantastic car crash.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Oh,
it's a car crash, and then if anything else happens, then it's great.
That's it. Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I really appreciate you. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm glad you're my friend. I'm glad I know you. Thank you for your content. Thank you for just being an inspiration with all your struggles and your faith. And I'll have to have you back on because I really enjoy talking to you. Thank you so much.
No worries, Mel. Lord bless you. Okay. And God bless everyone. And Lent is on the footsteps here. So, we've got to make sure that we try our best, not just to abstain from certain foods, but also bridle our tongue as well, which I struggle with. So good luck to everybody with Lent, and God bless you all. And we'll see you on the flip side, Lord willing.
All right. Thank you.